Hey, it's Corbin. I'm here with zZounds, and we're backstage at Chicago Theater with the riffmaster himself, John Petrucci. How's it going, John?
Good. What's happening?
You've had, I think at this point, 7 signature models. Like, where'd you really get started with Ernie Ball? Like, when did that relationship first really start?
Well, coincidentally, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the release of Scenes from a Memory, which we'll be playing tonight live. And it was 20 years ago that actually started up with Ernie Ball Music Man. In fact, on the live Scenes from New York DVD, I'm playing one of my first ones. I think it was a prototype. But I started with an introduction. Our manager manages Steve Morse. Steve is a longtime Ernie Ball Music Man endorser. And I was looking to make a change, and he introduced me to Sterling Ball. We had a great conversation. You know, he said from the beginning that they make tools for artists, and by the amount of prototypes that they'll go through to get one of my ideas to fruition, you know, they really stand behind that. And all of the whole Ball family, all of the engineers there, the whole team, they're just all really in it for the art and the innovation and the spirit of, you know, guitar. They love it.
How kind of over the years have you kind of changed, like kind of what you need out of a guitar and what you look for, you know?
Right.
And how was that kind of adapted to kind of fit basically like A, your playing, and B, just your needs?
Well, when we first started, you know, we developed the first model, which was a basswood guitar, bolt-on, maple neck, rosewood fretboard. We did a 6 and a 7 string, and that kind of started us off. And I've always been used to playing like the kind of Strat style, double cutaway, 2 humbuckers, Floyd Rose type of whammy, although we developed our own that's specific to my guitar, which is unbelievable. And then it developed from there. You know, eventually we came out with a BFR model, which did more of like a tone wood combination to try to experiment, combining mahogany and maple and ebony and stuff like that. And we did a baritone version at one point. Fast forward a bunch of years, we had talked about for a while doing a neck through, and that is what really the Majesty became. Mm-hmm. So the Majesty is a neck through version. We've also tweaked the DiMarzio pickups that have always been in the guitar. We developed things like we put an active system in the guitar, which the early models didn't have. So there's a buffer, there's a 20 dB boost on the volume control, things like that. And so it's just like all these innovations that started from the first one. And I think on the first one, we got a lot of it right as far as the layout of the controls, the ergonomics, the different details as far as what we use for volume knobs and things like that. And then we sort of tweaked it along the way ever since. And every one of them, you know, is a beauty and is amazing.
Term you mentioned is like ergonomic. I know we had one of your guitars in the office for a while. I'm like, that was the thing that really struck me on the guitar. It's like, this is almost like a tool.
I mean, there's a few different requirements. I mean, obviously sound and feel are ultra important. You want the guitar to sound unbelievable, and they all do. As far as the feel of the guitar and the way the whole thing kind of just gets out of your way, where the instrument is like your vehicle to express your art. So you want it to be as easy to play as possible. You want to be able to get to everything really quickly and comfortably, and you want it to just look, you know, stunning. Yeah.
Looks sleek and cool, which obviously these guitars do.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned the pickups. I know you have the 2 new, I believe it's the Dreamcatcher and the Rainmaker.
That's right, yes.
Talk a little bit about kind of what you're looking for, you know, speccing those out.
Yeah, so again, I've been with DiMarzio for as long as I've been playing, and they've always been in all of the Ernie Ball Music Man models. And we've tweaked them here and there along the way. In a conversation I had with Steve Blucher about the Majesty, we sort of realized that we never really designed a specific pickup for the neck through mahogany version guitar. And so I sent him one, and the idea was, you know, listen to this instrument acoustically. It has so much resonance and volume and everything. And, you know, what would you do pickup-wise to just kind of bring that out? And so they're not very different from what we previously did, but they're even more dynamic, more expressive, and just, you know, they scream.
Yeah,
they're unbelievable.
Even, you know, again, playing that one in the office, that it's, you know, it's kind of, you know, not a very heavy guitar. It's kind of a lighter body.
It's very light,
You know, even unplugged, how much resonance it has compared to such, you know, there's not that much wood there to move. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that has to do with the design. If I show you 7 string, yeah, you can probably see with this. So you can see, if you think about from the headstock down through the neck and then this sort of shield shape here, that's all one piece of mahogany. And so the pickups and the bridge and everything are directly mounted into that. So that's where you're getting that big, bold.
Really locks in the sustain, yeah.
And in the case of this, this is a 7-string. This is called Enchanted Forest, this green. And this is an all mahogany guitar with a maple shield neck through, ebony neck, stainless steel frets. And that's that version. But, you know, there are also sort of different versions like this one. This is an opaque color. This is actually a color change version. It's called Kinetic Blue. But in the instance with this opaque color, it's a basswood body. So it's that same mahogany through, right? But the sides are basswood, no maple top, and then you have black hardware. Again, always the 2 humbuckers, always the 2 DiMarzios. Piezo system, so you can get a clean sound.
Clean. No, you do kind of like acoustic-y parts as well. And
acoustic, that's
especially with your music, it's so dynamic that you kind of have to do a lot of different tones and get there really quickly. And
you need to be able to change like on the dime between acoustic and electric. And then this is kind of cool. For the first time and new for 2019, this is called the Tiger Eye. This is actually a limited edition. Ooh. So for the first time, again, mahogany through, but we did an alder body. So it's a bit different in the sound, and this has a full maple top as opposed to just the shield. But you can see also on the back 3-piece neck where they carry that.
It's really cool, kind of like tiger striping.
Isn't that beautiful?
Has its own burst on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat. So you know, that's the one that you get to see. That's, you know, no one else knows.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. One of the things, you know, we always try to ask questions were about like younger musicians. I know there's tons of young musicians who look up to you and just, you know, your virtuosity and all that. And so for some guy who wants to, you know, some kid who wants to be this little, you know, riff master himself, what kind of advice do you have for like just, you know, kind of focusing and sticking to it and trying to really mastering the guitar?
Sure.
Obviously, you're a person who's done that. So.
Well, I think that a lot of these little riff masters can give me some advice.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these?
Kids these days. I don't want to show my age because I'm not that old, but yeah.
No, it's unbelievable. There's so much talent out there. And, you know, I think it's great. It's one thing to learn from other musicians and bands that you like. That's how I started, for sure. But I think the thing that's going to set you apart is creating your own music. We have some bands that are influenced by us that never heard of the bands, you know, like the Dregs or Yes or whatever. But, you know, the whole thing about trying to become a professional...
Yeah, riff master,
you know, or be successful in the arts. I mean, there's not just one piece, you know, because there's so many talented people out there, but you also have to be... You know, there's so many things. You have to be a go-getter. You have to be, you know, social. You have to be business-minded. You have to be just, you know, hungry at all times. And it's not just enough to kind of just have the skills and be in your room practicing. That's one part of it. You know, you want to develop the craft, but there's so much more. You want to get your music out there.
Yeah, especially, you know, now bands where it's, you know, the music industry is a lot different than it was when you guys were growing up.
Different.
And, you know, that you really have to just fight tooth and nail to kind of even have people care about your band. And,
yeah, exactly. You have to be in it and get out there. And, you know, it's a social industry. Yeah. You know, it is. I mean, it's all about sharing music, and performing is a big part of that. And trying to be productive and prolific. It's really important. So you have to sort of keep your eye on all those different
balls
things.
that are all moving at once. Yeah.
Exactly.